Right, goat for R. So this is the third question in Jurassic Hack. So we've got another input file which looks like this. This time it's a massive number. So all these numbers are integers and they're on a single line. So I haven't given you a new line for every integer. So we're going to have to worry about that very shortly. And I want to know whether each of those numbers is what we call a fizz, a buzz, or a fizz buzz. So that's in reference to a classic introductory Python exercise where we have to determine whether numbers are either multiples of 3 or 5, that's fizz and buzz, or both 3 and 5, which we call a fizz buzz. So I've kind of really painfully wrangled this example into the context of Jurassic Hack here. So do read what's going on. But the bottom line is we've got to figure out which of these numbers are fizzes, buzzes, and fizz buzzes, and then add them all up to get our solution. I've already got my trinket for R, and I've already cut and paste the input data, and you can see when I do that, it goes onto a single line. And we can handle that. Actually, this is pretty straightforward to do this in R using our fantastic scan function. Read the data. So I'm going to create a starting variable called data, and I'm going to use that scan to get my input file. Again, I'm going to look for integers only, and the last one here, I'm going to specify a separator. And my separator, of course, is a comma. So that means every time it finds a comma in my data, it's going to split it into a new element of a vector. And it's also going to only do that if that element is an integer. So let's just make sure that this works. Always print it out as a sanity check. Yep, there you go. Golden. Right, so now we've got to create a new vector to hold fizz, buzz, and fizz buzz. I'm going to call it fizz buzz. Oh, I've been naughty there. Yep, C. Okay, and I'm going to loop over data so that I can in turn determine whether these numbers are multiples of 3, 5, or 3 and 5. I'm going to do the 3 and 5 statement first. Okay, so for num in data, there's my loop. The first thing I'm going to do is an if statement to see if num modulo 3 is equal to 0. So that's if it's a multiple of 3. And so I'm combining logical statements here. Num modulo 5 equals 0. Then I'm going to add it to fizzbuzz. Brilliant. Right, so that's the 3 and 5. I'm going to use an else if statement for the 3. Like so. So that'll add multiples of 3 to my fizzbuzz vector. And I'm also going to have a final else if num modulo 5 equals 0. Fizzbuzz C fizzbuzz num. Okay, and that should create all of those. So let's just print out fizzbuzz to begin with. Make sure that they are sensible. Right, so difficult to tell, isn't it? But all of these numbers should be multiples of 3, 5, or 3 and 5. Okay, so let's just sum them up, see what happens. Mm-hmm. 257403655. Look at the 3 digits at the end. Let's do a sanity check. It looks good to me. So that's how you do that question. Give me a rating and move on to the next question.